My brother Marcus laughed when the attorney read the will. You got the old house? The one falling apart on Maple Street? He leaned back in the leather chair, arms crossed. That's perfect. That's actually perfect. I stared at the papers in front of me. Dad's signature at the bottom. The house I grew up in. The house that needed a new roof, new plumbing, paint, everything. Marcus got the construction business. 23 employees. Contracts across 3 counties. A fleet of trucks with Dad's logo on the side. I got a money pit. He was still grinning when the attorney cleared his throat. There's more, the attorney said. His eyes stayed on me. A codicil. About the property. Marcus stopped smiling. And that's when I started to wonder. Why would Dad give me a house that needed $50,000 in repairs? Before we get into that, it's 2 a.m. where I'm watching this back. If you're up late scrolling too, drop your time zone below. And hit subscribe. You're going to want to see where this goes. The attorney opened a second envelope. Let me back up. Growing up, Marcus was the golden child. Dad brought him to job sites when he was 12. Taught him how to read blueprints. How to bid a project. How to manage crews. I wasn't interested in construction. I went to college. Became a teacher. It was fine. We had our own lives. Then Mom died. Dad started to decline 6 months later. First, it was just forgetting appointments. Then it was leaving the stove on. Then it was getting lost driving home from the grocery store. Marcus had the business to run. So I stepped in. I took Dad to his doctor appointments. Filled his pill organizers every Sunday. Made sure he ate. Made sure he didn't fall. I put my career on hold. Took a leave of absence. Moved into the guest room of his house. The house on Maple Street. Dad had always been a planner. Meticulous. He kept every receipt. Every deed. Every insurance policy. All of it in a fireproof box in the basement, labeled by year. The house looked rough on the outside. Peeling paint. Cracked driveway. Windows from the 1940s. Marcus called it the barn. I called it home. When Dad passed, I thought the house was his way of saying I mattered. That caregiving counted for something. I didn't know it was a test. I didn't know Marcus had already failed it. 3 days after the funeral, Marcus showed up at the house. He didn't knock. He still had a key. We need to talk, he said. I was in the kitchen, packing up Dad's things. He sat down at the table like he owned it. Look, I know you're attached to this place, but you can't afford it. I looked up. What are you talking about? The property tax alone is $8,000 a year. The roof needs replacing. The foundation is shifting. You're a teacher? Do the math. I didn't say anything. He slid a piece of paper across the table. A quitclaim deed. Already filled out. My name in the box. His name as the buyer. I'll give you $40,000 cash. You can get a clean start somewhere else. I'll handle the repairs and flip it. We both win. Dad wanted me to have it, I said. His face changed. Dad was on morphine at the end. He wasn't thinking clearly. He wrote the will 2 years before he got sick. Marcus leaned forward. Sign the deed or I file a probate contest. Undue influence. Diminished capacity. You'll spend everything you don't have on lawyers. He stood up. Pushed the paper closer. You've got 1 week. Then I file. He walked out. I sat there staring at the deed. My hands were shaking. The property tax bill came 2 days later. $8,400. Due in 60 days. I called a contractor for an estimate on the roof. He walked the property for 20 minutes and handed me a number. $67,000. Roof, foundation work, plumbing, electrical to bring it up to code. The bank wouldn't give me a home equity line of credit. The house needed too much work. Then Marcus's lawyer sent a letter. Formal letterhead. 3 pages. Alleging that I had isolated Dad in his final months. That I had manipulated him while he was on pain medication. That the will should be set aside. I sat on the front porch and read it twice. Maybe Marcus was right. Maybe Dad just didn't think it through. Maybe he didn't realize how much the house would cost me. I called my friend Jamie, told her everything. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, your dad was a planner. He labeled everything. He didn't leave things to chance. So call the estate attorney. Ask about that codicil. I hung up. I went down to the basement. The fireproof box was still there, covered in dust. I hadn't opened it yet. I thought I'd lost before I even started. I was wrong. I opened the box. On top was a manila envelope with my name on it. Dad's handwriting. Inside was a letter, dated 2 years before he died, before the diagnosis. It started, "If you're reading this, Marcus has probably already tried to take the house." I stopped breathing. The house is the real inheritance, not the business. Don't let him bully you. Attached to the letter was a county appraisal, dated 18 months before Dad passed. The house sat on a double lot, 2 parcels combined. I didn't even know. The neighborhood had been rezoned. Mixed-use corridor. Commercial development allowed. The land value alone, $420,000. The house was paid off. No mortgage, no liens. Dad's letter continued. Marcus will want this land. The business has debt. The house has none. You took care of me when it mattered. This is my way of taking care of you. I read it 3 times. Dad had known all along. He knew Marcus would try this. He knew I'd need proof. And he left it for me. But why didn't he tell Marcus? I looked back in the box. There was a second envelope, smaller, sealed with tape. I opened it. I didn't respond to Marcus's deadline. 1 week passed, then 2. That's when he filed the contest. I got the notice in the mail. A petition to set aside the will. Undue influence. Lack of capacity. He was asking the court to split everything 50-50. Then the calls started. My cousin Angela. My Aunt Ruth. People I hadn't heard from in months. Marcus said you kept Dad away from the family. He said you changed the will. Did you really do that? I tried to explain. No one wanted to hear it. Marcus posted on social media. A photo of him and Dad at a job site. The caption, "Some people protect a legacy. Others take advantage." He didn't mention me by name. He didn't have to. The comments filled up. People I didn't even know calling me greedy. Then Marcus sent a text. $75,000 cash, close by Friday. Last offer. Triple his first offer. He was desperate. And I was starting to understand why. He wasn't raising the price out of generosity. He was raising it because he knew. He knew what the land was worth. He'd always known. And I was about to find out exactly how long he'd known. The second envelope had proof. And it was worse than I thought. The second envelope contained printed emails. A thread between Marcus and a company called Skyline Development. Dated 14 months before Dad died. The subject line, Maple Street acquisition. I felt my stomach drop. The developer had sent Marcus an offer. A letter of intent to purchase the property, tear down the house, build a mixed-use complex. The offer, $650,000. Marcus had replied, "My father currently owns the property. Can you give me time to work on him?" There were 4 more emails in the thread. Marcus had asked Dad to deed him the house, said he wanted to develop it together. Dad refused. Marcus wrote back to the developer, "The old man won't sell. Can you wait until after?" After Dad died. The developer had replied, "We can wait 12 months. Let me know." Dad had printed every email, highlighted the key lines, dated them, put them in the envelope. He'd known his own son was waiting for him to die so he could sell the house I was living in. Marcus hadn't just lied to me. He'd tried to cut Dad out while Dad was still alive, and now he was trying to cut me out too. I pulled the business financials from the probate filing. They were public record. Anyone could request them. I'd never looked before. I didn't care about the business. But now I needed to know. The balance sheet told me everything. Marcus's construction company, Dad's construction company, had $340,000 in outstanding liens. Subcontractors Dad had paid on time for 30 years. Marcus had let them slip. There was a balloon loan. A refinance Marcus had taken out 2 years ago. Due date, 8 months from now. Payment, $210,000. The business Marcus inherited wasn't thriving. It was drowning. He needed the land sale to cover the debt, to keep the trucks, to keep the contracts, to keep his reputation. Dad's will hadn't been about favoritism. It had been about protection. He gave Marcus the business to save face, to let him try to turn it around. But he gave me the real asset, the one with value, the one with no debt attached. Dad gave Marcus the title. He gave me the value. And Marcus had been counting on me not to figure it out. Now I knew exactly what to do. And it didn't involve revenge. I called the estate attorney the next morning, the one who'd read the will, the one Dad had used for 20 years. I told him everything. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "Your father told me this might happen." He did? He asked me to be available if Marcus filed a contest. He left instructions. I scanned every page from the fireproof box, every email, every appraisal, every line of Dad's letter. The attorney filed a motion to dismiss Marcus's contest. With prejudice, we attached 7 exhibits, Dad's letter, the appraisal, the email thread, the developer's offer, the timeline, everything. The attorney also sent a copy to my cousin Angela and my Aunt Ruth. No drama, no accusations, just documents. I recorded a short video for the family group chat. Calm. 30 seconds. Dad left me a letter. He knew this would happen. I'm not fighting Marcus on social media. I'm letting the facts speak. I posted the video. Then I muted the chat. I also reached out to the developer, not to sell, just to understand my options. The hearing was scheduled for 10 days out. I wasn't going to argue. I was going to let the paper trail talk. Marcus had no idea what was coming. The probate courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood paneling, a bench, 2 tables, a handful of chairs in the back. Marcus sat at one table with his lawyer. I sat at the other with mine. My cousin Angela was in the gallery. So was my Aunt Ruth. The judge came in. We stood. She asked Marcus's lawyer to present his case first. He argued that Dad had been on heavy medication, that I had isolated him from the family, that the will didn't reflect Dad's true intentions. Then it was our turn. My attorney stood. He didn't argue, he just handed up documents. First, Dad's letter. The judge read it silently. Her eyebrows went up. Second, the county appraisal, the land value, the zoning change, the date, 2 years before Dad's death when he was still sharp. The attorney projected it on the screen. $420,000. Marcus shifted in his chair. Third, the email thread. My attorney read one line aloud. "The old man won't sell. Can you wait until after?" The courtroom went silent. The judge looked at Marcus. "Mr. Hayes, did you send this email?" Marcus's lawyer started to speak. The judge held up her hand. "I'm asking your client." Marcus stared at the table. "Yes, Your Honor." "And this was 14 months before your father passed?" "Yes." "While he was still living in the house?" "I was exploring options for him." The judge picked up Dad's letter. Read a section out loud. "Marcus will want this land. Don't let him bully you. You took care of me. This is my way of taking care of you." She set the letter down. "The contest is dismissed. With prejudice. The will stands as written." She looked at Marcus. "If you file any further frivolous motions in this estate, I will consider sanctions. Do you understand?" "Yes, Your Honor." Next case. I walked out of that courtroom with the deed in my bag and Dad's letter in my hand. My phone was already buzzing. The family group chat had gone completely silent. Marcus lost 2 contracts within a week. Word got around. Clients don't like family court drama. They especially don't like emails about waiting for someone to die. He refinanced the business at 11%. Hard money loan, brutal terms, but he kept it running. I didn't gloat. I didn't post about it. I didn't even respond when he texted me after the hearing. I just moved forward. I took out a small home equity line of credit. The bank approved it immediately once the contest was dismissed. I used it to fix the roof, repair the foundation, repaint the exterior. I didn't sell to the developer. I moved in. The house on Maple Street became my home. Not a memory, not an inheritance, my actual home. I set up a small trust in Dad's name. $10,000 to the hospice program that took care of him in his final weeks. They put a plaque on the donor wall. His name, his years. A line. In gratitude for compassionate care. I drove past it once. I didn't cry. I just felt proud. 3 months after the hearing, I sent Marcus a text. Dad's house is my home now. I hope you figure yours out. He read it. He didn't reply. I didn't expect him to. My cousin Angela called a few weeks later, apologized, said she didn't know the full story. I told her it was okay. I understood. Some relationships didn't survive. That's fine. I learned something through all of this. The real inheritance wasn't the land value or the house or even the money. It was knowing that my father saw me clearly. He saw what I gave. He saw what Marcus wanted. And he trusted me to see the truth when it mattered. That's worth more than $650,000. I still have Dad's letter. It's framed on the wall in the living room. Some mornings I read it with my coffee. It reminds me that the people who love you don't just leave you things. They leave you proof. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had to prove yourself to family who underestimated you? Have you ever had to stand up to someone who thought you wouldn't fight back? Drop your story in the comments. I read everyone. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Because we're just getting started. One more thing. This story is a fictionalized dramatization. It's not legal or financial advice. If you're dealing with estate issues or family conflicts, talk to a licensed attorney in your area. But if you're here because someone doubted you, keep your receipts, stay sharp, and know your worth.